What's good, y'all? Welcome back. We got the first chapter of the JJK sequel today, Sunday, and it is Jjk Modulo, or Modulo, however you pronounce it. And I just read the chapter as these first chapters go in manga, usually Shonen Jump. I just read the first chapter and I kind of liked it. I was expecting less, but I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised, and I tweeted about it. I think the setup for these characters and the arc and everything that's about to happen is a good setup for the first chapter, and I'll probably be reading this. You know, if you're a fan of JJK, you'd be insane to not read this weekly. I don't really super love JJK, but, you know, it's interesting enough to, I guess, stay along with it, you know. I'm sure everyone's going to be on it. So, if you don't know, the art is by this guy, Yuji Iwasaki, and then the story's by Jjk. But the art is very, very good, and it kind of resembles this early JJK, like those first, like early JJK art, how everything was like very clean and then refined, and then as you see toward the end of the series, everything's scratchy and rough. But this definitely, I think it's fitting. I think it's fitting for the start of a new series. And yeah, so we're gonna go through some of the content here, and we're gonna talk about it. So I guess this is gonna kind of be like a chapter review, but not like the ones I've uploaded on my channel before. I'm gonna sit here, we're gonna scroll through it and talk about it. I'm not gonna write a script. Usually I'd write a script as I, you know, read through the manga, take down notes, and then put it together. We're just gonna freeball it. We're just gonna wing it and talk about it. So a lot of people are comparing this to Boruto, but maybe that's just on anime Twitter. There's been so many sequels for series that have aliens in it, so I think there's a lot of reaching going on. And it's all kind of stupid. Okay, so yeah, it starts off with this guy. I'm guessing this is like the leader guy on the spaceship. And they talk about Japan thinking, oh, I thought America was the strongest. No, Japan has sorcerers. They have, and he says here, it seems there are people in Japan who have powers similar to ours. What? So very, very interesting. Similar to ours. This kind of is similar to Boruto in a small way, how not only are they aliens, but they have the same power. Yo, look, guys, look at the horn. It's Vassal Lord Ichigo. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. Okay, so yeah, right here we have the first page here. Or I guess the cover page? Not really cover page, but it has a title on top. Where is the cover page? I don't even know, man. This is the cover page. Okay, so they're called Jujutsu Sorcerers. Title drop. So, if you don't know, I've seen this through leaks, but I tried to avoid most of the stuff here. So here, we'll reveal it as we go on. We have Yuka Okkotsu. Okkotsu? Who is that? Who is that? Okay, age 6. Grandpa, you really are Grandpa's little girl. So we see here, he's talking to his granddaughter. I want you to have this, wait, what? A ring? Okkotsu? Is this who I think it is? Yeah, so this starts off with the descendants of Yuta and Maki. They had a grandchild, or 2 grandchildren. They had a grandson and a granddaughter. Now, what I think is very interesting about this is, I guess, the dynamic between these two. You have one that doesn't have cursed energy, and the other that does. So we're kind of getting Toji clone number 2, or Toji number 3. Okay, no, I'm kidding. So yeah, the guy, Tsurugi or whatever his name is, it has no cursed energy, and the girl does. Very interesting. And they use cursed, and he has like a cursed imbued weapon, cursed energy imbued weapon, a sword. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's keep going. So basically we see here the grandfather gives the ring, which Yuta had, the ring that he used to kind of connect and summon Rika, giving it to his granddaughter. And then we see the funeral here. She's over the casket. I'll promise to be strong just like you, Grandpa. And then the clan head or whatever, the official people say you have no right to have the ring, even though Yuta gave it to him. She tried to take it back, and she kind of got pieced up here. We see the bandages and stuff on the face, a little knot on the head. So yeah, we got Megami, or this looks like Megami Jr. So we got Megami Jr. and Yuta Jr. No, I'm kidding. This is Yuta and Maki's grandchildren, but this guy is kind of similar, or he's very similar to Megami, the look here in the face. And then she's just straight up wearing Yuta's clothes, that white thing, the kind of white like garb or whatever she had on. And then we have her saying, oh, she's gonna get strong, get the ring back. We get a little bit of foreshadowing for what's, I guess, who the villain is. Later on, you find that out. And then here is where it just gets like, kind of, you know, nostalgia here. I can't, and I'm sure every JJK fan's gonna love this. We have our team here, and they're investigating. They're Jujutsu sorcerers, and they're going to, you know, an incident or whatever. Pretty much like how JJK was. You'd have this team of 3, or 2 or 3, and then they'd go on and, you know, investigate these cursed events things, and, you know, fight the bad guy. You know how it goes, the formula. So it's happening here. We're getting all of that back. And then this guy shows up. I'm Inspector Maruli Val Von Yelvori. Weird bandage on the forehead with some face markings, which we've seen, which they don't know, but we've seen earlier in the series. This is the alien. And here he says, I'm gonna see for myself what you two are made of. I need to check out the Earthlings who share our powers. So he's basically acting as the sensei, inspector, or whatever for these two. So essentially, so far, what we have in the series is the descendants, the grandchildren, granddaughter and grandson of Yuta and Maki, and an alien being in their team of 3, which pretty cool dynamic so far. We'll see what happens. I need to check out the Earthlings who share our powers and see if they can coexist with us Sumerians. So that's what the alien race is called here, the Sumerians. So they go to investigate the kid disappearances and stuff. This, you know, report, whatever they're going for, and I guess between like the left, right direction, whatever, they, you know, discover a barrier has been put up, and, you know, the barrier pretty much leads people down one certain path that results in them getting abducted. And then as we find out later here, we'll scroll down. Now here's something I think is interesting so far. We're definitely going to learn more about it in the future. We know how prominent sort of the theme and how important the theme, the whole narrative of twins are in JJK. Here we have Maru, the alien, saying he has a younger brother, a younger twin. So not only are the 2 of these people in the team of 3 siblings, the alien sort of sensei or inspector also has a younger twin. So interesting. Now, as soon as I read this, I actually thought, yo, maybe it's Sukuna, bro. As we went on, I don't think it is, because he talks about it more. But yeah, that was the first thing that popped in my head, pretty much. Also, just for the record, I'm still holding off on the idea that this guy is Sukuna incarnate. I'm holding off on that, okay? Until disproven, okay? Because we have the whole in-panel JJK thing. In another life, maybe I could have chose a different path. This seems like a different path, man. I don't know. But he's an alien, so I don't know. It's probably not true. You'd have to bend a lot and really, you know, put away a lot of information to kind of go down that path, that narrative. But, you know, who knows, man? Who knows? They can do anything, man. It's shown in manga. And then here they're kind of blocking off the path, and then a kid runs through it. You know, kids, man, you know, whatever. Now here is the first look we actually get at a real curse user, a bad sorcerer. This panel right here, man. Now this, like, oh my god, JJK, we are so back. Oh, we are so back. They did well with keeping JJK in the title, man, because this is JJK, bro. Straight up, this is JJK in its fullest form. In effect, we see it right here, man, and oh my gosh. Having someone else draw this is so crazy, too, because I look at it. Now, if this was a panel, a page from, like, early JJK, I would think it was drawn by Jjk. Now, chapter 2, up in the 260s, no, not at all. But like 1 through 10, yeah, this looks straight like it's from Jjk, bro. Not that this guy's necessarily copying the art style. I'm just saying this page specifically resembles that early art very heavily, in my opinion. So the hands come out, boom, kid disappears, and he goes, "Oh, we're up against a pretty top tier curse. If they work spatial interference into a barrier technique." And then Megami Jr. here steps in. "I'm gonna prove I'm stronger than you." They both run up, try to get teleported to save the kid, and it only takes one of them. Why does it only take one of them? Boom, plot twist. I can't get over how much she looks like Yuta. Boom, plot twist. It only takes, oh, his sword drops. It only takes people who don't have cursed energy. So here, I spoiled it earlier in the video, but yeah, here is where we actually find out that this dude doesn't have any cursed energy, and he is Maki's descendant, so, you know, and he's using a cursed imbued sword, cursed energy imbued sword. Very interesting. It doesn't go with him. So the barrier technique, whatever this villain's doing, it only takes people with lowered, no cursed energy at all, which is why, you know, it's getting all the kids, and it didn't get Yuka here. And then the next part of the manga here pretty much just has Maru and Yuka kind of arguing. At first I liked it, then in the middle of the dialogue I got a little bit cringe, I think, but it's shown in whatever. Then toward the end I liked it again. So this whole, you know, page here I think it shows a lot about Maru's personality, and although he's an alien, I don't think it makes him bad. I think there's gonna be a lot of prejudice from certain characters in the series that are like, oh, I hate aliens, whatever. That's, you know, probably a foregone conclusion. And the guy in the beginning looked definitely like a villain. Instead of Maru a little bit with like one page, but so far here, I don't think Maru is a bad guy, especially earlier in the series, how he talked about he wanted to kind of gauge your powers and see if they can live, if they can coexist. The Sumerians, the humans, or the Japanese. And then it's revealed to our main character in the story by the antagonist, because he's talking to Megami Jr. here. Aliens have come here, and then it's kind of explained, blah, 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 blah. And here we actually get a little bit of JJK lore. Now, it says, I know you're familiar with the Colon game that occurred 68 years ago, which prompted the signing of the treaty. Satoru Gojo and Yuji Itadori put a stop to it, but do you know of anyone as extraordinary as them nowadays in Japan? So, kind of similar to the 1,000-Year Blood War, you know, back then 1,000 years ago. So society was very strong. 1,000 years later, they got weak. Kind of similar to Japan here, because no one is as strong. I would say Jujutsu High back in the day, 6 to 8 years ago, was stronger than what they are right now, and that's pretty much stated here. So as these two are talking, they go on to talk about the extraterrestrial invasion of the aliens that are labeled as a special grade incident on par with the Ryumen Sukuna attack that happened 6 to 8 years ago. And they talk about he's a monster who created the Ground Zero, or whatever. Glad to see you know modern history. Kind of argue back and forth, whatever. Megami Jr. gets beat around, and then boom, the door comes flying off, hits the guy, and then we see these two. We see Maru and Yuka. Oh my gosh. Oh, it feels good to be back, baby. And they found the enemy by using what I assume to be Maru's curse technique. Yeah, he literally says it there. My curse technique will seek balance. I'm gonna read this word for word. My curse technique will seek balance and find the person who's an equal match with you. In other words, it'll find Tsurugi. So as soon as she pops in, and then we see this earlier, she was talking about fighting and whatever. She doesn't even care about the back on. They're just like, let's fight. And then Maru's like, right now. And then boom, they're scrapping. Ooh, I wonder who's gonna animate this, bro. Do you think it's gonna be Mappa or what? Oh my god. Wait, no, this is gonna be animated for at least 5 years, bro. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Okay. Unless this is animated at like the same time as JJK, different studio. That'd be crazy, bro. That'd be crazy if this right here battle, this first chapter, got animated before the final blow on Sukuna. That'd be insane. But yeah, okay, so Megami Jr. wins. She cries again. He's still so strong. I already knew that. He works so hard. So yeah, just as a kid, she's still getting cooked by him, bro. So yeah, that stuff she said earlier on the bench, nah. He is a little bit stronger. Yeah, he looks like Zoro here, bro, training with the big weight like that. And then here, you know what, actually, I know earlier in the video I was talking about similarities, Boruto, Bleach, whatever. Since this is the sort of sequel to JJK, this kind of reminded me of that one girl, the Bear Claw Strike from the Hell sequel to Bleach. I'll put a picture on the screen. But yeah, Savage Jaw Strike here. Boom, uses it. A martial arts Kyoshoken Strike with cursed properties. Oh man, it feels good to be back. And then boom, the curse tool comes out. The curse tool Honoyagi. The sparks generated from the scabbard and the guard are infused into the blade. Now that actually seems like a cool concept, I'm not gonna lie. So the sparks from the scabbard and the blade get imbued into what, the striking strength? Into, what does it say here? Yeah, are infused into the blade. The sparks, yeah, insane. So here, new shadow style, Bato sword drawing. The katana's on fire. It's burning the talismans, forming my barrier. Savage Jaw Strike, they're kind of comboing him here, 2v1, and then the bad guy gets cooked. And he admits, oh yeah, you have gotten stronger, haven't you? And he talks about giving him the ring back soon, keep training. And now this is probably one of my favorite moments of the chapter. Here, it's a little flashback of Tsurugi and Maki saying, you don't need the ring, you're strong, and you know, you're strong, you don't need it to protect or ward off any dangers. Basically, you don't need the ring. And here we get the ring belongs to you. This is whenever the ring was given to him. And he says, you know, Tsurugi didn't want it in the first place. I don't need it. And I guess the clan head, whatever this official here says, what you want is irrelevant. Now you can see the paneling, he kind of doesn't like that. And then Granny was, and then I'm reading this off here in the panel. Granny was the one who trained me. I don't need some charm. I'm gonna get stronger and show them. I'm gonna make them say you don't need that ring. You're Maki's grandson after all. Sorry, Yuka, just let me hang on to it until then. Awesome. Okay, I love this. The dynamic between what was forced upon them and what they actually want, and then this kind of clashing in between the two siblings. I like it. Good stuff here. Okay. And then at the last second, the enemy, he tries to pull some last move and teleport all the kids away. Boom, they got caught off guard. They would have lost. And then Maru comes in here clutch, kind of like Gojo from that first mission. Okay. So yeah, Maru comes in here clutch and opens up his third eye, revealing what was under the bandage. And then he gets exposed to be an alien. Whatever that guy was saying earlier kind of clicks, that whatever the enemy was saying to Tsurugi earlier clicks with Tsurugi. Aliens have come here, we see it there. And then he goes, are you an alien? And then Maru kind of covers his head, and that is the end of the chapter. So overall, in final thoughts, I think this is a pretty good setup. I think you have the descendants, you have the flashbacks, you have the resolve, you have the two kind of main character. You can't even really tell which one's the main character. You have two main characters, Tsurugi and Yuka. You have their ideals, their resolves clashing, a whole enemy threat of the aliens, and you have the good alien kind of here, which he looks really sick in that eye panel, by the way. You just have a lot of good stuff. I think overall it's a great setup. You meet everyone, and you know the plot going forward, you can not exactly predict how it can go, but you know what to expect as far as what's to come. And I feel like it covered all the bases too. You know, it mentioned this is 68 years into the future, so this is like 2 generations in the future. So yeah, the old people aren't around, and you have an entire new setup to continue the world, which I think is great. Which I think is actually, it might be a little bit better than if they'd done 1 generation in the future, because 2 ensures that the old generation's dead for the most part. But if you just done the actual like children of Yuta and Maki, I feel like that would have been a little lame, I guess, because then you would have kind of been clutching on to the idea and, you know, of the first JJK. And this isn't JJK, this is a sequel. It's kind of where we're at into Blue Vortex right now with Baruto. The old gens don't really matter, aside from like Shikamaru, a couple others, whatever. But yeah, I like this. I like how it's 68 years. It gives kind of, it provides the footing for this series to actually grow and be its own thing rather than be connected to JJK. And you know, everyone's reading for these characters that were in the first series, but this is its own series. So I'm glad it done 68 years. I think that was a very good touch. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to keep reading more. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. I think this is a fantastic setup, and you know, you'd be crazy not to read this every week if you're a JJK fan. I'm definitely gonna be reading it. I'm excited, and you know, I think it exceeded my expectations a little bit. I'm definitely looking forward to this more now than I was whenever the leaks came out before. Not that I only seen a couple leaks. I don't really care about leaks. I want to sit here and read this myself, you know. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. If you did enjoy, make sure to comment, subscribe. This is Alekai, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.